Dickerson, she's executive director of the D.C. Young Democrats, and Ron Meyer, editor of Red Alert Politics and a Republican Loudoun County Supervisor. Over the weekend, President Trump lost his cool when questioned about his unfounded claim that former President Barack Obama had ordered surveillance on Trump Tower. Take a listen.
Did President Obama give you any advice that was helpful? That you think, wow,
he was very nice to me, but after that we've had some difficulties. So it doesn't matter. You know, words are less important to me than deeds. And you saw what happened with surveillance, and everybody saw what happened with surveillance.
Difficulties how?
I thought that, well, you saw what happened with surveillance, and I think that was inappropriate.
What does that mean, sir?
You can figure that out yourself.
Well, the reason I asked is you said you called him sick and bad, but you stand by that claim about him?
I don't stand by anything. I just, you can take it the way you want.
I just wanted to find out, though, you're the President of the United States. You said he was sick and bad because he had tapped you.
You can take you can take it any way you want.
But I'm asking you, because you don't want it to be fake news. I want to hear it from President Trump.
You don't have to ask me.
Why not?
Because I have my own opinions. You can have your own opinions.
But I want to know your opinions. You're the President of the United States.
It's enough. Thank you.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think that obviously it's not a good look for the president when that happens, but I think most news outlets, when you're pre-recording an interview, probably wouldn't air that portion. But because it's this president, the media thinks that they can do whatever they want to. And that's kind of the issue, is that the media, and you saw this with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, they're truly treating him like he's not a human. And I thought a lot of Republicans made the mistake of not treating Barack Obama as he was human. They hated him so much. It was a lot of visceral anger. And now a lot of Democrats, including those in the media, are treating him the same way. And I don't think that that's fair.
I think Trump likes live, very, as this show is accurately named, off script. He tweets. I don't know what his level of engagement is on Facebook, but he, I think, actually likes the banter back and forth, because now he will use that to say, do you see how he was unfairly pushing me to answer a question that I answered? I should not have to get into that. So he will use something like that to his advantage and to hype up his base, who will say he's being treated unfairly.
Let's go back to Ron's point, because this has come up time and time again in interviews with high-profile people. So you're saying that the formal interview was over. The reporter kept talking and decided at some point, based on the president's response, we're going to include this in the official interview also. Is that what you're saying?
They made that the story, right? Because they didn't get substance, they had to make that the story. That's been leading all of the news programs. And I don't think, had President Obama been frustrated with a right-of-center reporter and he said, you've asked me this 4 times, I'm going to go sit down and do my job now, I don't think the news organization would have aired that portion of Obama saying that and going sitting down at the, I just don't think that would have happened.
I'm going to beg to differ. I think if President Obama or any president showed a little bit of attitude, if you will, that would have found its way, you know. In media, trust me, somewhere.
I agree with you, Bruce, because I think there have been occasions where if we can get the President of the United States on camera being flippant or being upset, that is news, and I think that would have been aired.
What about the substance or lack thereof of what the president continues to say, though? You know, there was wiretapping, that Barack Obama did orders. I mean, come on.
Well, no, I don't think it's. I think it's actually really wise of him, right? Because if you keep focusing on it, you keep saying new newsworthy things, that's all the media is going to focus on. Trump's trying to focus on his agenda for the American people the way he sees it. And if he keeps talking about Russia or keeps talking about this wiretapping, he's trying to stay on message. And really, I think most people should want him to stay on message. We should want him not to tweet incessantly. We should want him not to say flip comments. We should want him not to have to talk about wiretapping anymore, because we want him to do his job. And I think that's what he's trying to do.
Okay, one more. Here's another one of those comments. Some are scratching their heads after President Trump made comments on the Civil War and former President Andrew Jackson. Here's a portion of that interview on Sirius XM.
I mean, had Andrew Jackson been a little bit later, you wouldn't have had the Civil War. He was a very tough person, but he had a big heart, and he was really angry that he saw what was happening with regard to the Civil War. He said, there's no reason for this. People don't realize, you know, the Civil War, you think about it, why?
He saw what was happening with the Civil War and said there's no reason for that. I don't think that's accurate. I think Andrew Jackson was long dead by the time we had the war, about 15, 16 years.
Well, he was saying what if.
Okay, my question is, what about the president's comments here?
Andrew Jackson, the slave owner, the Civil War that helped us. Actually, yeah, we are now out of slavery because of the Civil War. So you're making reference to someone who would be there, even though, as you pointed out, Bruce, he's dead, who would actually, I think, not be on the side of the oppressed people.
That's right, and it's important to point out, and I'm not going to defend Trump's comments. I mean, I've always been really fair on Trump's comments. During the campaign, I'd criticize him, and this is one of those cases. Andrew Jackson was a Democrat. In fact, Democrats to this day still have Jefferson Jackson dinners. To this day, someone who created the Trail of Tears, who pushed hundreds of thousands, probably, Indians out of their homes. That man was a Democrat, and that man was still being celebrated by the Democrat Party, and probably still is as of today.
But wait, to be fair, Jefferson Jackson dinners has actually been criticized, and there are a significant amount of Democrats who have wanted to change the name of that. And I also think as we look across the country, this is slightly a bit different conversation, but as we saw in Louisiana, the taking down of Confederate monuments and perhaps street names, because we now realize that that is not helpful to bridge unity, to create unity in our country.
It's not helpful for the poll numbers. I mean, that's the irony, right? Is that Democrats pretend to be so progressive on a lot of these issues, and then literally either whether it was last week or 2 years ago or 10 years ago, still had these same issues. The truth is that we still have a lot of wounds we have to heal in this country, and I don't think that the president's comments today helped heal a lot of those wounds.
Okay, going to be right back with Topper. Stay with us.